Tonight we're going to be talking about choices, and let's face it, in our culture today, there are no shortage of choices that we can make just about anything in our lives. Like the other day, I was going to the grocery store. I just had to pick up a couple of things, and I'm going down the toothpaste aisle, and there were 20 different kinds of toothpaste. Now, all I want is for my breath not to stink and to keep the cavities out of my mouth. I don't need 20 different kinds of toothpaste. After that, I go to the detergent aisle. All I want is for my clothes to be clean. I don't even know what chloride or fluoride or any of that stuff is. But you know, we get caught up in this idea that choices are a modern phenomenon, that the idea that we're inundated with choices is something that's only come about recently. And the truth is, we've actually had choices to make even since the beginning, literally the beginning. If you look in the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve, after God created the world, they were presented with a choice as well. God made it very clear. He told Adam and Eve that they had the freedom to do whatever they wanted, but there was one thing they couldn't do, and that was eat of the fruit of a particular tree. And it's interesting because we look at this and we all know the story. They chose to do the thing that God asked them not to do. But we get caught up in this idea that Adam and Eve were choosing between good and evil, that they were either making a right choice or a wrong choice. But really, when you think about it, it's not that simple. God said that Adam and Eve could do anything in the world that they wanted to do. They could have named animals, they could have ridden animals, they could have eaten fruit, they could have talked, laughed, cried, prayed, sang. They could have done anything. In other words, they had an infinite number of choices, yet the one thing they did was the one thing God asked them not to do. You know, we could look at Adam and Eve and the choice they make, but really we're faced with a similar choice. God gives us the freedom to do so many different things, but yet how oftentimes do we choose that one thing that we're not supposed to do? And when you think about it, our freedom to choose is really the most significant gift that God can give us. You know, when you think about it, we can pray, we can read the Bible, we can go to church, we can do all these things that we think of as being spiritual, but when you think about it, there really is nothing more spiritual than exercising our freedom to choose. Because when we exercise our freedom to choose, we're expressing ourselves. We are telling the world what we think is the right thing to do. So as we talk this evening, we want to encourage you to think about the significance of the choices that you have in your life to make. Because the truth is, you might be faced with an opportunity to make a choice that can literally make the difference whether you're going to walk on the path that God has for you or you're going to miss out on some significant blessings that God had for you all along. You know, when we think about choice, we talked about either something that's good or something that's wrong. You know, there's another type of choice that we can make, and it's the choice to either do nothing or it's the choice to act. And when you think about this in Scripture, Jesus was given a choice. You know, a lot of times we just kind of assume that when he's going to the cross, we just kind of take it for granted that he's going to do the right thing. But for Christ, the issue wasn't whether it was the right thing or the wrong thing to do. God had told him from the get-go what the right thing to do was, and he knew the right thing. The choice for Jesus was to actually take the step and do that hard thing that he would have rather have done anything else than to do that one thing. And for us, it's the same choice many times. We can either sit on the sidelines or we can get in the game. We can make that hard choice that's going to propel us into the life that God has had for us. You know, we're coming up on the Super Bowl. And I love watching the game. It's probably one of the favorite things I love to do. But you know, the only thing that I can imagine that would be more fun than watching the game is being in it. And sometimes God calls us to get out of the stands, to get off the sidelines, to make that one hard choice. And our prayer for you as we go into a time of worship tonight, that if there's something on your heart that you know you need to act on, that you wouldn't wait, that you wouldn't miss out on what God might have for you.